What's up, y'all? Welcome to another week of the Goalink Show. My name is Ben. I am the founder of Goalink, which is a goal-setting community providing growth junkies, which I hope is you, with weekly challenges to avoid complacency. So if you're looking to grow and develop consistently, you are in the right place. These challenges are inspired by different brands to bring you new ways to improve yourself on a weekly basis. You can kick back and watch me take on these exciting and uncomfortable challenges. You can check the content on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at Goalink Group, or you can join me, which I hope everyone does. So, the Goalink Show, this podcast, recounts experiences from the achievers of the world, but not just the success. We delve into the challenges and the struggle that we all face. How do we find the will to push through? What role do motivation, discipline, and even failure play in our lives? Let's talk about the process and not just the result. We discuss this and much more on the show. Thanks for tuning in. This week, we have my friend Kolby on the show, a friend that I met in Greenville, South Carolina. He's just a fellow, knowledge seeker, just a good dude who likes to go within and discover more about life. He's a dreamer. He's passionate. He's done quite a few things, like he's an ex-musician, a model, and we talk about breakups, loss, the healing process, and how we have grown through them. Like me and him, what's our experience with them. He opens up about experiencing panic attacks. I don't know much about those, so that was really cool to discuss that with him. We talk about confronting death. We talk about fears. And we talk about the story of how he first got signed to a modeling agency and his vision going forward. He's a dope dude. This is a cool conversation. Let's get into it. So you ready to go, dude?
Yeah, let's do this.
Kolby, what up, man? Welcome to the Goalink Show, my dude.
What's up, man? Thank you so much for having me on.
That wasn't awkward.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording, dude.
Nice.
But this is what it's about. This is about the process. Kolby, thanks for joining me, dude. We're just gonna have a conversation, and I know it's different than the conversations we've had because we actually have a mic in our face.
Yeah, this is the what do they call it? The humble beginnings.
This is the humble beginnings.
Currently,
I mean, it's a little bit different since we're on the 5th floor in a very nice apartment in Greenville, downtown. But
there's levels.
But we're laying on the floor.
I have a chair caressing I literally have my legs underneath this chair, and I have the microphone on top of the chair. And dude, I honestly probably wouldn't rather have it any other way, though. This is dope. We have perfect lighting that I was just bragging about or boasting about here.
I know, that's what I love about this apartment is the natural lighting. But anyway, dude, we first got introduced because when I first moved to Greenville a few months ago, I was just searching for people, like-minded people on Instagram, like people our age do. I don't know. But
definitely.
I messaged you. I can't remember. I actually kind of want to look what I said. I'll say it in the intro what I said to you. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what you thought when I first messaged you?
Dude, honestly, I remember seeing it, and I was like, holy crap, another guy like me.
Really?
Yeah.
That quickly? Why?
No, because, okay, so my thing is this. And perfect example today, okay? So this is probably not much context for you guys, but today when I was at the gym, I know this guy, and he's a police officer here. And I saw him, when I recognize him in uniform, but outside of uniform, it's kind of hard to, you know what I'm saying? You don't
really
the
recognize tan guy who was working out?
Yeah. I won't say his name. Yeah, I won't say his name.
Yeah.
But so, we were walking around each other and everything, and I kept telling myself, yo, I know that guy from somewhere. Mm-hmm. And then finally, I walked up to him, and I was like, dude, what's up? And I know exactly who he is. He knows exactly who I am. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it took me stepping out in order to realize that I actually knew this guy. Mm. And so that's somebody that I feel like I've always been. I've always been that guy to go out of my way and meet somebody or say hi to somebody that I know or something like that, because I know in my brain, I feel like it's not going to happen. They only speak when spoken to rule. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of contrary to that. And so, I say all that to say is I stepped out and spoke to him. Mm. If I hadn't, then he probably would not have said a word to me. So the reason why I connect that to you speaking to me is that you actually reached out to me. You know what I'm saying? And had you not reached out to me, then we probably would have not made this connection. You know what I'm saying? And so when I saw that message that you sent to me, I was like, yo, that's so cool. This guy, like, I mean, it was, what does the message say? You were super, super chill, and you were just like, hey man,
Hold on, keep
just
talking. Let me find it.
yeah, you were like, hey man, just moved over here from Utah, and you're like, I'm just trying to expand, network or whatever it was, and you were like, I'm just trying to meet some people around here, and shoot around, do whatever.
Oh shoot.
You about to bring it up?
It's not on my personal one. I think it's on Goalink one, so I'll look it up later.
Yeah, it's on Goalink. Actually, dude, I might be able to. Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, and then we were kind of texting, trying to like meet up or whatever. It didn't work out, and then I saw you at this Fashion Week premiere party, which you are a model for, which I want to talk about. And then while you were a little tipsy, but you were still coherent.
Yes, I definitely was. Oh, okay, I remember this now. Yeah.
Okay, well,
because
if you didn't remember.
No, because there were a couple parties for Fashion Week that we had to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember. No, that was super cool, man. Dude, you know what's funny about you? You're actually a lot tall. Like you're a lot bigger in person, like taller. And I was like, holy crap, this dude's like pretty freaking tall. How tall are you? 6'2", 6'3"?
6'1".
You're 6'1"?
Yeah.
So I'm taller than you?
Yeah, you're definitely taller.
Holy cow. I didn't realize that.
What are you, 6'2"?
Like 6, just about 6'2", I think. I'm like 6'2" and like 3/4.
But thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. Take that as a compliment for sure. Because everyone, females like 6 foot and over. So there you go.
There you go, dude.
Perfect.
And it was funny, dude. We just had like, do you remember that conversation at all though?
We hit it off and we were talking about our personal stuff. Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Yeah, like
I don't remember. I don't know how much I can talk about it on air. But
dude, you can talk about it all, man. Like, yeah, it was personal. I was telling you. I mean, yeah, I can't remember exactly, but this girl situation, and
we both.
Okay, I know why.
We both had a very similar.
I know why are you thinking about the thing I told you about why we can't. Yeah, I told you something pretty.
I don't know.
I think
I was just saying that more so because it's like just personal information.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I can definitely talk about mine. I'm totally open to talk about mine.
Yeah, I'm open to talk.
Without using names, obviously, but.
But no, I remember I just told you this thing. I'll tell you after that. I was like, wow, dude, that was pretty personal. But anyway, on the way here, so we worked out at the gym, walked back to the apartment, and we were talking about relationships. And you were saying you dated this girl for 7 years, and you broke up with her. Right. Did you break up with her, or did she break up with you, or is it mutual?
I think so. I mean, dating her for 7 years, I think we both broke up with each other a few times over the course of 7 years. But for the last and final time, it was me that broke up with her in January of 2015.
So yeah, dude, 7 years. I mean, granted, you're young and you started dating when you were teenagers, but what was it after 7 years that you were finally like, this is it, like, no more? Man,
so it was crazy because I met this girl through a mutual friend online. Facebook, I think it was, or MySpace back in the day. It was MySpace.
Yes, that's dope.
And I started talking to her. It was just kind of, my friends all made fun of me in high school because I was the guy that had a cyber girlfriend, and they would always be like, "Okay, she doesn't exist."
Now it's normal.
Yeah, right. And now you have Tinder and Bumble and all that kind of stuff. But and so back then, dude, I was such an outcast, and I met her, through that, and then eventually I met her, I think, on Halloween. It was actually Halloween night back in like 2008, I want to say.
Nice,
2007, 2008. And so we started dating, and she was my girlfriend sophomore year, I think. I was 16. So when you're 16, you're in sophomore year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was sophomore, and she was sophomore as well. So we just started dating, and we dated all through high school. And then we moved out to South Carolina together. And yeah, man, it was awesome. But to answer your question, you said why did we
after 7 years? Why did it finally?
Yeah, so after 7 years, I feel like after a few years, people ask like, well, so when are you guys getting married and all this stuff? But I really just wanted to wait and make sure that she was the one and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like 16 to 22 in particular is such a pivotal age, dude. Such a pivotal age. I mean, I'm 26 now, and I can be humble enough to say I still don't even know myself. I have no idea who I am. I've done a bunch of cool things in my life, which we can get into.
Yeah.
I feel like, but like at the same time, dude, I have no idea who I am. I don't know what I want to be. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a clear trajectory at the moment. And so, as far as people, we grew so far apart, you know, to where I kind of hated the person that she became and she hated the person that I became. But at the same time, we didn't even know each other. So it was like a false sense of identity. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it was super toxic. It became super toxic. And I found myself doing things to kind of spite her, and she found herself doing things to kind of spite me. And, you know, it just became super toxic. And,
yeah. I mean, 16 to 22, you're going to change a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like
tenfold.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. And then for context, you mentioned earlier that you moved down to South Carolina. So you guys were from Connecticut. Your mom moved down here, right?
Right.
And then you came here to visit.
Yeah. So
and then all of a sudden you just said, we're moving down.
So literally we were supposed to come down for 2 weeks vacation in November of 2011. And I was just, like I told you earlier, we talked, you know, off audio, podcast. And I was telling you, man, I was broke, busted, and disgusted. And I kind of just didn't want to be in Connecticut anymore. I was just doing the same old stuff, just like, and I was bored and I hated it and I wanted to get out. So we came down here for 2 weeks vacation. And she was actually the same. You know, it's not like I pulled her out here. She was, you know, hating her job too. I think she was working at like fast food, or I forgot what it was. I mean, we're young, you know, whatever. And so we came down originally for 2 weeks vacation. And I think like the fourth day, we were both calling our families and our jobs, telling them that we were not coming back. And everybody thought we were crazy. But yeah, we did that, dude. And we didn't look back. So it was fun, man. We had a great time. She's actually back in Connecticut now, and she has a little boy. She just had a little boy.
Oh, really?
I think like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, a super cute kid.
Isn't that wild? Like
her.
how much can just change?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Dude, so you broke up with this person 4 years ago, and she has a kid.
Yeah,
and she's a completely different person.
Yeah, and it's so
like
crazy.
It's crazy, but it's sweet. Like that's what's life. That is what life's about.
And dude, just to kind of talk on that, it's just there's one thing that makes that amazing, and it's time. Time, you know what I'm saying? Like, because in the moment, like when, you know, while we're breaking up and whatnot, I was so possessive. I feel like men, people in general just get possessive, but men in particular, because that's, you know, you literally like that's my baby. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine that girl with anybody else. Like, you know, there was so many first times with this girl and all that kind of stuff for everything. It is, you know, and it's just crazy to experience, to go through these changing times and whatnot, and you never think you're gonna make it out. I mean, all of us, when we break up with somebody, we're like, okay, I'm gonna die, because you just your emotions, and you let your heart and your ego get in the way, and you feel like you're not gonna be able to make a full recovery. But the thing is, man, like what I've learned is through everything, and not even just breakups, but like when time comes into play, and like I was telling you this stuff earlier, like, and you just do the foundational things in your day that you need to do, you know, working out, eating decent. I mean, not everybody has access to eat clean all the time. So eating decent, working out, you know, showering, even
just eating.
It sounds so menial, but like, yeah, just eating in general. Because I remember when her and I broke up, I was in Connecticut still, and I was living with my dad. And dude, I spiraled through a horrible depression. And like I was telling you earlier, I've always been known as the happy-go-lucky dude that's like literally just like so many different friend groups, and always in and out of, you know, friends' houses and doing stuff and social events and all that kind of stuff. Just as extroverted as you possibly can be. Like, not even knowing, like, or have experienced what being an introvert is. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I never understood people's depression until then. And then, dude, when we broke up, man, I literally, like, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but like I literally did not shower some weeks, like, because I physically could not lift
weeks
myself.
At a time, like
no, not weeks, but like I'm saying, I didn't go weeks at a time, but like
a full week.
1 week I would get, without showering, or a few days, maybe not a week, but a few days, because that's just I mean, but dude, it's the small, like the rudimentary things to your day that you are completely mindless, because it's so easy when your mind is at a decent health. Those things when you're depressed are so hard to do. It's like literally being at like the bottom of a mountain and looking up and being like, okay, a shower is at the pinnacle right there, but I have no idea how to climb, you know? And so that's what my depression turned into, man. And it was tough. It was really, really tough.
And I think thanks for, talking about that, because I think depression, sadly, is becoming a bit of a buzzword nowadays. It's
hype. Yeah.
It's like, I'm depressed. And for me, I was actually talking to my mom this week about, for me, like I moved to Greenville, like, and I met this girl the first night I was here, and I was like, oh,
look at you, man.
Like
Rico Suave.
Oh, yeah.
First night he's here, he meets a girl.
But through online apparatuses.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. No, but you know what? You were just talking about it earlier. Like 5 years ago, we would have been the outcasts. But now 5 years later, people who are not on those websites are the outcasts.
Yeah.
I've recently quit them all just to, challenge myself and not challenge
like
myself, but just to stay off of it and try to be organic.
Yeah. Well, and organic, and just like any social media, it can just, like, you get anxious and you do it for not the person, you do it for validation of yourself.
Right. Ego.
It's all about ego. Yeah, dude. So like I met this girl, dude, and no joke, I thought in my head, I was like, dude, she's the one. Like, this is it. Like the first night, Wow. And I've never, ever, ever had that thought, in 28 years of my life. And because I've always heard people talk about that. Yeah. And I've never.
It's so cliche. You always hear people talk about that.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you guys talking about?
Always.
Like, like breakups, I'll be fine. I'm over it in 2 days.
Yep.
And, or whatever. And that's not discounting relationships I've had in the past. Like I've learned a lot and they've gotten better and better. And I wish the best for everyone. Like I truly do. But for some reason, it was just like, boom, like it just hit me and it just clicked and it was like easy and awesome. And then, yeah, like we ended or whatever. And for the first time, I was telling you this earlier, like I understood for the first time what true heartbreak was. Like for the first time ever, dude, I dropped down to my knees, like it hit me. Yeah. Like like it hit me just one night, one weekend night, like a week or two after. And I was alone, like on a Saturday, and I just like dropped down to my knees. And no joke, like I just started crying and like saying the F word, which I never do, Yeah. And it was just, dude, like it was so painful, and I've never felt that before, and it still sucks. Yeah, it's getting easier. And like I know all the right things to say to myself. Like I listen to podcasts, books, blah blah blah. Yeah. People come to me to ask things, but it's you just have to go through it.
And it's to your point, man. I mean, I feel like nobody can ever discount what someone's going through, especially when it comes to a breakup or like loss or anything, something like that.
I think loss. I think that's
that's the thing, is like, because we get so, and I've been through that same exact stuff before, so it doesn't make you like any less of a man or anything to like be able to admit that, dude. I've been through that kind of a couple times actually. My last girlfriend that I dated, I felt the same. The girl that I told you about, and I was like, this is the one. This is the girl that I've had my eyes on. This is the girl that I've wanted to pursue for a while. And your head goes to a complete different place, and you almost, you almost like rather be punched in the face 10 times and feel that pain and have that take away like the mental pain that you're going through. 'Cause yeah, it's just nuts, man. So I definitely can relate to that feeling of, like literally being like bare bones, like down, stripped to nothing. Like, it's just it's a bad place to be.
It's weird, man. Dude. Like I made this video. It'll be out by the time this podcast is out. Like I truly felt for people when they said that they're going through loss or trauma, but when they were still sad after 2 weeks or a month, I was like, come on, like, get over it. Right. You know what I mean?
That's literally gas to the flame, though. Like saying that kind of stuff. Just like when someone's having a panic attack, The word just is the worst. Just stop thinking about it. Just don't have anxiety. Just don't. Just this, just that. It's like, yo, that's the worst thing to say.
Just don't have that's so funny, right? It's like,
just breathe. Just stop thinking about it. Just take a walk. Just do. Yo, it's not just. I'm dying in my head right now. Like my whole world is like being completely shaken up and rattled right now. You don't understand. Like some things just have to be experienced to be understood.
Ooh, dude, hold on. We got to say that again. Some things need to be experienced to be understood.
Right.
I love that, actually.
And so like for you, what you were just speaking on when you're like, okay, you broke up with X, Y, and Z, you know, okay, I get it. Break up. Okay, well, let's go ahead and automatically assume that we have to prepare a week for him to be out of it, broke, busted, and disgusted, all up in the fields, right?
Yeah.
And so you do that, right? And then after a week, you see the dude, and he's still like that. You're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and be in my head about it, you know, try to give him some respect. After 2 weeks, you're like, okay, this dude's got to get over it, just like you were saying. But the thing is, man, if you haven't experienced something like that, then you're not going to understand exactly where this dude's at. Because I've also heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that the amount of time that you spend with somebody, it takes half that amount of time to get over them. So, I mean, it's completely subjective and completely, you know, it's situational to the person. I mean, I'm sure that some of these gurus or some of these like religious leaders or whatever could get over their X in like 24 hours or however they can do it, sell an ebook on it, whatever. But I mean, dude, if you're a real human being, it takes time. You know, it takes time, whether that's a week, whether that's years, it takes time. And nobody can say exactly how long it's going to take. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that. Like, and I've said this before, but I really believe it now, and I can totally empathize that like we can't compare traumas. You might take 61 days. I might take 62 days. It's still different.
Exactly.
You know. Have you ever had a panic attack?
Dude, I love this question. I love talking about it now because I've I've graduated from anxiety, I like to say.
Ooh, so you think. But no,
so I think, no, but then it comes up and bites you in the butt, dude. I've had that happen as well. As far as panic attacks, though, I feel like I have a really good peg on it now. I've had a lot of panic attacks, bro, where I thought that I was going to die. Straight up, I thought that I was going to die. My first one, we were playing video games. I was probably 9 or 10.
Really?
Back in Connecticut. Yeah, we were all playing video games. It was actually when the first Grand Theft Auto ever came out for PS2. It was Grand Theft Auto, not the first one, but it was San Andreas. And my dad had bought us a game called Burnout as well. Burnout was a super cool game. But we were playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I remember asking my dad and my brother a question. Like, I think it was about, I don't know, it's just a really morbid game. so bear with me here.
Yeah.
But I think I remember asking them, like, what happens when you die?
Your dad?
What?
You asked your dad?
I think I did, yeah. I think it was either my dad or my brother.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto, you're killing.
Yeah, you're just
stealing cars.
You're killing people. I mean, this is the perfect game for a 9-year-old, right? Perfect influential game, right? Wrong. Anyways, but yeah. So I remember asking them like, what happens when you die? And my dad started telling me, but like, dude, you can't really. How can you articulate that to a 9-year-old? Oh, well, you go away for a little while and you you don't come back for like a long time. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Yeah. And so I started thinking about that and marinating with that and dwelling on it to the point where I had to pause the game and I started like hyperventilating.
So in that same moment.
Oh yeah, in that same like, it wasn't even 5 minutes after. Like I started really like ruminating on that and thinking about it hardcore, and to the point where I started going into a full panic and I was breathing heavy. I was getting lightheaded. I had no idea what was going on. And it was such a coincidence because I had just asked a question about what happens when you die. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like literally in this panic thinking I'm going to die, you know?
Interesting.
And so my dad, I remember he had to walk me. He took me outside and he had to walk me around the house like 4 or 5 times. And it was late at night. So I had gone to bed right after it happened, and I was fine. But yeah, that was my first panic attack, man. And another funny thing about it is like when I told you earlier, some things have to be experienced to be understood. I never knew like what a panic attack felt like, because I had a buddy growing up that he always had like panic attacks really badly, and I never understood. You know what I'm saying? I was always like, man, what's going on? Like, he's freaking out. Like, is he just playing? Like, is he messing around? Is he doing this for attention? Like, he's hyperventilating and he's breathing hard, and you know, his arms are getting tense and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what's going on. But then, dude, when I finally had my first panic attack, I was like, this is what he went through. You know what I'm saying?
Even as a 9-year-old, you're thinking that?
Dude, as a 9-year-old, yeah.
You're a woke 9-year-old, dude.
Well, I mean, just on anxiety. Anything else, I was still a normal 9-year-old.
Yeah.
That's just one thing that I learned.
So what do we do? Like, if you were to have a panic attack right now, how would I coach you through it?
Oh, dude.
Just get over it, dick.
Yeah, just get over it, or I'm gonna throw you out the window off the 5th-story balcony. No, honestly, man, I don't even know. I think I'm so good at it now. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect at it, or like a professional, just because, like you said, it can come up and bite you in the butt, like at the most random times. But I'm really good at it now. I know how to control it. And for someone who might be listening that does have anxiety really badly and might be going through it, or have panic attacks, maybe even today, maybe I had a panic attack. I'm not really going to be able to give you like super tangible advice, just because everybody's different. You know, when I went through anxiety really badly before my breakup that I was going through, I had panic attacks all the time, man. And I took to YouTube, Google, all that kind of stuff. I was reading books, and this was actually when I got into personal development as well, around then. And nothing ever worked for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Some people say do this crazy things with your fingers, and everything like deters your mind. That's all it's supposed to do. It's just supposed to deter your mind. So you change your breathing, you can go for a run, you can do all these different things. But it's really just like honing in your mind and just realizing that you can control it. I think the best thing for me was that I became real with myself. I became real. And what I mean by that is, like, my biggest fear when I had panic attacks was dying. I did not want to die. And passing out. Like, passing out and dying for some reason, like, I don't know why. I couldn't tell you now. They're not big fears now. For me, I'm a 26-year-old dude now, and I don't really fear those things. But those were the things that I was like terrified of, and now I'm cool with it. But what was I? I was just going on a thought.
Oh, as far as for me, like if I'm not having a panic attack, but someone I know or love is, what can I do to help them out in that moment?
Okay. Yeah. I think for me, what used to work was physical touch. So because I'm having like an out of body experience, you know what I'm saying? If I'm going through a crazy panic, I'm currently having what feels like an out of body experience. I can look at my hand, and my hand doesn't look like or feel like it's attached to me. You know what I'm saying? I can look at my feet, and my legs don't feel like they're on the floor. All that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, that's how my panic attacks used to get. And my sister, she has them like that as well. And so physical touch, man, like constricting too, like hugging. You know what I'm saying? Just like grabbing my arm or something, or just like patting my back, like rubbing my head, something like that. That to me is like practical that somebody can do in the moment to help somebody kind of combat a panic attack.
Okay, cool. That helps. And that's probably what I would have done. So
yeah,
go me.
Yeah, it would have looked weird. Like some like housekeeping walks in, like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like, you're just sitting there rubbing my head.
He's having a panic attack. Get out.
He's having a panic attack. Yeah, get out. Or bring us some like nutrition. Bring us some good healthy stuff.
Nutrition.
Maybe we can combat this.
You mentioned that you don't have any, or you don't fear death right now. What do you fear?
What do I fear? What do I fear? What am I afraid of? Yeah, so I came to terms with death, man. Oh, that's what I was going to say earlier. I'm just real with myself with my panic attacks, because I would get deeper into panic attacks if I thought about death. Be like, oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die all the time, right? And sorry, this is getting a little morbid, but I'm just trying to paint the picture for you guys. And so what I started to do was I started to say, why am I so afraid of dying? If I die, I'm not going to know. What the heck is wrong with me, dude? Like, why am I so afraid of dying? You know, like what's the big deal? What's the big deal with death? You know? And so I finally was like, okay, well, I could live or I could die right now. And either or, it's going to be completely fine no matter what happens. I know that sounds like a nihilist type of perspective, but like that's how I was able to get myself in a state of mind to where I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm really okay.
Have you read the book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius?
I haven't, but Marcus Aurelius is like incredible.
Yeah, like, you know, Stoic philosophy, but essentially what he says is like whether you died today, tomorrow, or in 50 years, it's still death.
Yeah.
And it's like you're gonna be forgotten. Like it's a bit like morbid, but at the same time it's focus on living then.
Yeah.
Like that's how you flip the positive. Instead of I don't want to die, you change that to I'm gonna live
Exactly.
to the fullest.
Right. And it dude, honestly, like I feel like if anybody needs any advice that they could take and run with right now, I would say that kind of stuff. The self-affirmation type stuff is so cliche and nobody wants to hear that. But the thing is, if you actually start doing it, like people always say they don't want to hear it because those are the people that don't actually put those steps into place. And they're like, oh, that's not going to work for me. I can't do that. No, like that's just BS. But the thing is, like me, I started telling myself, okay, if I die right now, it's okay. If I die right now, it's okay. You know, because I would literally get myself into a panic attack by saying, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And it's not even happening, dude. Like the only thing that's happening is my heart rate is increasing, right? Just like it would if I was working out. It's going 150 to 200 beats a minute. That's completely fine. The heart rate is increasing and I'm convincing myself that I'm having a heart attack. But the thing is, like, do I convince myself that I'm having a heart attack when I'm working out? No, it's just a complete mind shift, you know? And so, like, when you're in a state of panic with anxiety, you're just dwelling on everything and thinking, oh my gosh, this is contributing to the reason as to why I'm going to die right now. Like anything, you know? And so, yeah, it's just, man, I watched my sister have a panic attack one time. And this was after I had, quote unquote, like I said, graduated my panic attacks. So I'm so glad I was there. For her. But dude, we were walking downtown one day and we had just eaten at what's the taco place over here? Oh, I used to go there all the time, right next to Core. Oh crap.
Cantina 76.
Cantina 76. Thank you so much.
I've been here a few months and I know. There we go.
Yeah. So Cantina 76, we had lunch and we were walking down and we got only to the Greenville whatever that place is, the Greenville Town Hall. And she was like, hey, I'm like, I feel weird. And I was like, oh, you're okay. Just keep walking. Just keep walking, right? Just. And I'm bad at it too, so I'm human. Whatever. Yeah, let's just keep walking. You're okay. And she's like, all of a sudden, she's like, wait, I see this like black dot in my vision. Huh. I'm like, what? She's like, wait, do you see that? And my sister's like, really?
How
like,
old is she?
She's 24. But at the time, it was like, she was probably like 21, 22. Okay. She's like, wait, do you see that? Do you see that black dot in your vision too? And I was like, Kels, no, I don't see that. No. And so she's like, oh, she starts panicking. And so it was a really hot summer day too. So she starts panicking. I know what I've experienced it before. So I understood what it feels like. So I'm seeing her, dude. She's winding, right? She's going crazy. And so I get her into the town hall where the AC was. And dude, she had a full blown panic attack, like 10 times worse than I ever had a panic attack. And, we had to call EMS, everything. EMS came in and she passed out twice on me. And I watched her hands and her fingers tense up so badly. Like they literally went like rock solid, dude. And I was like, Kelsey, stop with your hands. Stop doing that. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like she was in and out of consciousness the whole time. Because what happens, dude, is when you hyperventilate like that, your lungs fill up with CO2. Or it's CO2, I think. And you have absolutely no air in your lungs. So it's like almost like a suffocating.
No oxygen.
Yeah, you have no oxygen going through your blood, or you know.
Wow.
And it was funny because like perspectives, bro. Like the EMS guy got there, she passed out on me twice, and I'm at this point I'm trying to be a strong big brother. At this point it's like scaring the crap out of me. Yeah. EMS guy's like, oh, it's just another day on the job. Oh, she's totally fine. Like laughing, like, you know, both of them. There was a male and a female. They're just like, oh yeah, no, she's totally fine, man. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, my sister's going to die. My sister's going to save her, do something. Like I had never seen this. And, so yeah, that was pretty crazy, man. But, panic attacks, it's the worst, man. And sometimes, like, I'd be out with my friends sometimes, and it would just creep up on you and hit you, you know? It's because your subconscious mind is always going.
Yep.
Always going, no matter what you're doing. If you have a task at hand, like us podcasting right now, I'm probably thinking about something right now in my subconscious mind.
Ooh, that is trippy. I've never thought about that.
You know, and you're just like, and usually what it stems from is, like, after the podcast, usually, like, the first thing that you think of is, like, your subconscious mind, like, speaking up. It's something like that. I forgot what it is, and I don't want to sound like a dummy or anything, but I've read into a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, like, literally, you could have a task at hand primarily while you're doing something, and then your subconscious mind is busy cooking something up that's gonna mess you over later. You're thinking about some girls, some whatever you might be thinking of. So,
all right, dude. So back to the hard hitting question: what are you afraid of?
Oh, what am I afraid of? Okay, so I just talked for 20 minutes without answering that. What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of?
Yeah, like currently, like, is there anything like you truly
fear?
And if there isn't, like, what are you struggling with right now?
Fear. So, what is? I hate to sound like all macho, but I don't know. I mean, maybe if you mention a fear, I might be able to relate to it, because like, I think in life the biggest fear that one can have, and I don't think it's all across the board, but I mean, dude, like, death is a big thing that people fear, but like, I'm genuinely not afraid of it, like, right now.
Yeah, for me, it would be not living life to my fullest potential, or like not like doing absolute everything I can, like fully embracing, taking life by the horns, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, I'm not afraid of that because I am doing everything I can. Right. If that makes sense.
You're where you need to be.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think that even though that answer sounds cliche, I feel like not all of us, but a lot of us are the same way. I think my biggest fear would be not leading a legacy and not like, I mean, actually, you know what? No, this is the thing. I want to be remembered when I'm gone. So legacy, that's probably my biggest fear, is not being able to touch people's lives in a genuine manner. You know,
let me challenge you. You'll be dead. So why would you care?
Because I don't know. Because I mean, think about all the people that you know. Like, okay, like Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn's a huge, provider of motivation and almost meditation for me in my life, and just good words. The guy, he's passed since, and
I mean, he's Tony Robbins' mentor, which.
Exactly.
Everything.
Yeah, that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff doesn't happen every day. But like, for example, Jim Rohn. I mean, I still read a lot of his literature and books and all that kind of stuff, and he did it right. It's to my perspective, he did it right.
Okay, cool. So this is good. So you mentioned earlier that, like, okay, you don't have a laser focused goal right now, but do you have any type of tangible big dream of how you want to get there, or like, what do you want to do to influence or have that impact like Jim Rohn?
Whew, that's a good question, man. I'm not sure. So like earlier when I was telling you that I've done a bunch of things in my life, being in the band, I've done some modeling stuff, I've done a few things in the fitness industry and whatnot. I've always been kind of like coasting, And I've never been one like the people who find what they want to do in their lives at such a young age. Like, I commend them so much, man. And they have the laser focus. Like, we all know that one guy who wanted to be a basketball player or wanted to be a baseball player his whole life and now is professional. Like, I mean, I'm 26 at my age. I know a few professional buddies that are, MLB players or even football players and stuff. And it's like, dude, the unwillingness to settle for anything less than that one goal and one dream. You know what I'm saying? And so they work day in and day out, eat, sleep, and breathe NFL or MLB or whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. You might be an artist or a musician, anything like that. The people, we all have those friends that have like that laser focus. And I, in my life, have just, I guess I've never been someone that's had that. I mean, I was really, really good at like baseball back in the day. But I shifted, you know what I'm saying? I found something else in music. And then from music, I tried my hand out in modeling. And then from the modeling, it's like, even now, I don't know, I have no idea. And so I'm always trying to figure out, Kolby, what do you want to do that would affect you, but affect other people as well, And so I've recently had the interest in doing a podcast. That way I can just sit down and get my thoughts out and have guests on and do all that kind of stuff, just like you're doing, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what we're doing right now, dude.
Exactly. That's what we're doing right now. And so, I'm not exactly sure how to put the goals in place in order to make an impact like Jim Rohn. And that's a great question, because if you ask me that in another 3 to 6 months, I think I'll have a better answer.
Okay.
Just because like right now, and hold me accountable to it.
Yeah, I will.
But like right now, my life, like I told you earlier, is kind of in shambles. I'm just trying to, it's so under construction, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I don't have everything put together. I'm not, 100% where I need to be or want to be. All that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm totally cool with admitting that. So not exactly sure what type of goal I need to implement right now to be the to lead a legacy like Jim Rohn.
Yeah, but we'll touch back in. You'll probably be back.
Yeah.
And then, dude, I'm the accountability king. I'll hold your ass accountable.
Good, man.
So let's talk about modeling. Was that just you? Did you do it as a kid? How did you first get into that?
Yeah, dude. So when I first started out, I got scouted at where I used to work. I got scouted at a restaurant over here. Actually, I could say it, right? Like,
if you want, yeah.
Yeah, I used to work at Smoke on the Water as a server right downtown over here. And I was serving, and there was this girl that was sitting down, and she kept looking at me, and I was like, okay, she's probably just, I don't know, thinks I'm cute or something. And so just staring at me, right? And so I kept walking by. I'm just being respectful, whatever, just kind of like looking at her out of my peripherals and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, she's like, one time I walked by her, she's like, hey, come here. And I was like, okay, here it goes. I'm at work. What's going on? And she goes, first thing she says, who are you signed by? I said, signed by? She's like, yeah, who do you model for? I said, whoa, I don't model for anybody right now currently, but I would love to try my hand at it. I had no idea who she was. You know what I'm saying? I thought she just was like somebody coming through and, whatever. I thought she was some random girl. And she's like, well, I'm a scout for, modeling agency in North Carolina. And she told me the agency, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy, because like 2 weeks prior to her coming to my existence, I had sent this agency a DM.
Oh, really?
With all of my sizes.
Dude, that's perfect.
Height, everything, right? And they didn't answer. Didn't even leave me on red. They just didn't even answer. So at that point, I based my self-worth on the fact that I'll never be a model because they didn't answer my from one DM. That's a
lesson right there. Don't base your worth on one attempt ever.
Exactly. Because you never know, dude. And this is the thing. Just to put it in perspective, I had a couple people that I know or knew at the time that were signed to this agency. And they were, I like, trusted and respected these people. And so I was like, yo, I want to get signed by this agency. And so I was like doing everything I could. I was trying to talk to all the male models that were already on the agency, crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's, doing everything I could. And so finally, I sent them a DM, and they didn't answer. And so, like I said, I based my self-worth off on that. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm just not good enough. I'm never gonna make it. Like if this one agency doesn't answer me, then I'll never make it. And so little did I know, 2 weeks later, a good friend of mine now, she walks in and she's like, hey, we pretty much, this agency, she worked for that agency, and she was like, they would love you. You need to go, and you need to try your hand out and see. And it was funny because it was a Thursday that we met, and I was leaving that next Monday for a 12-day cruise with my dad. Just my dad and I.
That's
We're
a
going to
long
the Caribbean.
time.
Yeah, man. And so Thursday she goes, okay, we need to shoot. She goes, what are you doing Sunday? So we shot on Sunday for like 2 hours over at Tandem in TR. Have you been there yet?
I have not.
The crepe place.
Oh, the crepe
Dude,
place. I have been there.
You got to check it. Oh, okay.
I've been there once.
It's amazing. Yeah, the lumberjack is the best meal there. Anyways, but yeah, so we go over there, we shoot, and she ends up telling me, great photo shoot. Everything went well. she ends up telling me, she goes, okay, well, the standard procedure that it works is if we shoot, I'll send the pictures in and they'll get back to us within a month. Give them like 3 weeks to a month. And I was like, okay, cool. I got a 12-day cruise that I'm going on. I got plenty of time to wait. I'm going to be on island time. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No worries at all. And so she was like, yeah, they'll get back to you and let me know. But she's like, if I hear anything else before that, I'll let you know as well. So cool. So Monday comes, we fly up to New York, or we go up to New York, and or I flew up to New York, and we caught the bus up there in New York, and we went to where we were supposed to go. And we get on the cruise ship. The first 3 days we're at sea. So literally just at sea. So we're just stuffing our faces and working out all day because we're just cooped up in the ship.
Yeah.
And so we get to San Juan, Puerto Rico, our first ship. At the first sight of cell service, I started getting hit so hard with just text. And one of the texts in that was the scout who had been, who I had done the shoot with. And she literally, it was like all caps, Kolby, you need to answer this message. Contact me as soon as possible. Directions wants to meet with you. That was the name of the agency. Directions wants to meet with you. And I freaked out on the ship, dude. I freaked out. I was like, oh, this is it. I was like, this is it. I've made it. I was like, oh my gosh, Dad. Like, I'm going to get signed from them. Like, not having a clue that I would get signed, And so my dad was super happy. I was stoked and all this. And I had this sense of anxiety because like it was the first actual day. Sorry about that. It was the first actual day that we were on the cruise. So I had literally 11 more days to be on the cruise. And I just like wanted to get home and like sign if I was going to.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time to anticipate possibly signing or not signing to an agency. But yeah, that was, and I came back and I ended up having a meeting like the following Monday or something like that. And then we signed. And it was awesome, dude. It was super cool. So I've been doing that for a while.
So you're still signed with them?
I'm not signed with them anymore.
Okay.
I'm signed with a different agency called MP Management in Atlanta. They're an international agency, and they're super cool. But yeah, dude, modeling's been great. But the only the thing is, if I'm to be honest with you, I've told like a few people about this. So it's gonna be pretty crazy bulletin board to say it on this podcast. I'm probably going to step out for a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm probably going to step out for a while because I have this thing. I don't know. I just get caught up in the signed model thing. You know what I'm saying? And I've had such an ego around it. And I really haven't done too much with them here lately at all. But like I get so wrapped up in it. And I feel like it kind of to bash myself for a second, but I feel like partly why I'm still signed is just so I can go around it, like for the social aspect of it. And so I can have my friends tell other people that I'm a signed model. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I'm guilty of for sure.
Props for admitting that, dude.
Yeah. And that's definitely, it's a tough thing to admit because you don't ever want your ego to get in the way of stuff like that. But like, I mean, just the other day we were at Topgolf, and
for a modeling party or what?
No. It was just, the core people.
Okay.
Core people.
Homies, friends.
Yeah, homies. Yeah, so we're all at Topgolf, and our server comes over, and he's like, and he told one of my good buddy that was there, he pulled him aside. He was like, dude, you guys, there was like 8 of us. He was like, dude, what do you guys all do? You guys look like you're like famous or something. Like you guys look like you're somebody.
Yeah, just beautiful, like well-dressed, fit people.
Well, yeah, it was more so just the fitness aspect of it because we all wear like fitness stuff, and the guys like me not so much. I just wear like like fashionable clothes and stuff like that. But I had just come from the gym, so I was still in my fitness stuff. And the guy pulled Marcus aside, and he was like, dude, what do you guys all do? And we were just telling him. He's going down the line, telling him what we all do, and then Marcus got to me and he said, "Oh yeah, that guy right there, he's a model." And to me, I'm like in my head, like, because then our server, who asked the question, Marcus was talking to, our server came over to me and talked to me about it, and I just kind of felt guilty. You know what I'm saying? I kind of felt guilty. I was like, damn, like, it's cool, but I don't care about it as much as I make people think that I care about it. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather sit here and talk genuinely with you and not give a shit about modeling. You're good. Can I swear on that?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Okay, cool.
People ask that every time. You're good.
Yeah. And so I would much rather do that than attribute my name to, oh yeah, that's Kolby, he's a model, you know. That's Kolby, he's a model. That guy right there, he's a model, you know. Because like to me there's such a stigma. Okay, number 1, he's dumb. Number 2, he's just good looking. And number 3, he's not, you know, you can't really get into a deep conversation or intellectual conversation with him at all. So I mean, I feel like the social stigma around being a model can be really good or really bad.
I think, yeah, I mean, obviously do whatever you want to do. I think it'd be cool if somehow you were like a very successful, well-known model, and then you did have conversations like that.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it'd be cool if athletes or like, do you know what Jada Pinkett Smith is doing? Have you ever watched Red Table Talk?
No,
on
I haven't.
Facebook?
But she has
you would love it.
The podcast? Does she have
so
a podcast?
it's it's
because Will's doing
visual.
a vlog, bro. Will has a freaking vlog.
Yeah.
I'm
so
like, what?
Right, and they talk about this, like basically what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's 3 generations, so it's her mom and Willow, her daughter.
Okay.
So 3 generations of women talking. It's a really cool show.
That's awesome.
And I wish more people did that, because yeah, we love Tim Ferriss. Yeah, we love
Tim Ferriss,
Aubrey
bro.
Marcus. You know, like these types of people, but they're not famous. They're successful because of the personal development and their books. It's not because, like, unfortunately, the world looks at people like, I don't know, I'm trying to think who, like if Kim Kardashian were to, see, that's the thing. Like if she were to have a conversation, I don't think people would take her seriously. But that's like up to her, you know? So I think it'd be cool if someone like that, of that high caliber, like even if Kanye West like came and just chatted, you know? Yeah. I think Joe Rogan's trying to get Kanye too. Like, let's just sit down and like have a conversation. Like, no,
and let
don't
me
try and
decide
do it
for myself.
Yeah, don't try and just like do it for publicity or to try and sell records. Just be real.
Right. Strip everything. You know, have like a naked conversation. Not literally, but like
you could. Hey, dude, you maybe that's what your podcast is.
That could be a podcast idea. Oh man,
ooh, that'd be
hilarious.
Actually, and you could call it Stripped.
Oh man,
and it could be double meaning. Like, obviously you're naked.
Yeah, but the conversation. Oh man.
And it could be.
I'll probably skip out on that idea, but I'm definitely still in it for in the market for a developing
for conversation.
Yeah. I at least just want to talk.
Okay, dude. So I do this part of my show where I call Scroll My Soul.
Woo!
Oh yeah, baby.
That sounds juicy.
Oh, it's very juicy. So what that means is, from the conversations, from the podcast, from the books, anything that I get inspired by, I keep a running list. And then when we do podcasts, I randomly scroll through and I select a passage for you. I read it, and then I just tell me an experience that it reminds you of, how you resonate with it, just anything it makes you think of. Cool?
Cool.
So we're going to scroll through here. Let's see what I got. See, this is live. So usually I have it prepared, dude, but we're just...
No, you're good, bro.
I
feel like it's a, what is it? A job interview. Name a time when you felt overwhelmed.
This is interesting. Okay. I haven't read this one back. Love cannot be imported. Happiness cannot be imported. They can only be exported. So that's a bit wild, you know. That's a bit your face, only people.
I don't even know how to perceive that.
So essentially what that means, right? Love cannot be imported. Happiness cannot be imported. They can only be exported. So what that means is
it comes from within, and it has to be. Yes. It has to be exemplified.
Like, I got a new couch delivered today
that I'm leaning on currently. So it's perfect timing.
Yeah, like it's not giving, like it's, yeah, sweet, I have a couch now, but it's not like importing happiness into me. It's like I have to be the one giving it, right? Exactly. And like even going back to whether it's breakups or any kind of loss or hard time, whatever it is, you're talking about affirmations. That's why it reminded me of. And one thing I've been focusing on lately while I've been going through this difficult time is I give love and rejoice in others' happiness. And so for me, I felt like I was being jealous or insecure of this girl, but also other people too. I feel like I've been this way in my life, like an anti-abundance mindset. Like it's limited, that only like I will only get ahead by not tearing people down, but kind of overly competitive in a way. Like because they're successful, I can't be successful too. Like I would never do anything.
Like there's no room for you to be successful if they're successful. Yeah, which is totally contrary.
Right.
To
And
the
even
truth.
Like watching me, like a couple people have been doing challenges. Like I've been watching some challenges pop up like on social media. Like Tom Bilyeu is doing weekly challenges now.
Okay.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like they're ruining my thing. But I'm like, no, Ben, you can do it too. Right. You know, like be happy for other people finding those challenges. Hopefully they find you too, and rejoice in everyone's happiness. Like everyone deserves to be happy. Yeah, you have to earn it. Yeah, you need to go inward. But I truly want to celebrate people's happiness. Right. And so that's what kind of this means to me, is like, I'm going to export happiness. I'm going to be the light for people. Yeah, like I got to start with me first, but I'm going to freaking rejoice for other people too.
I feel like that's also part of being mindful. You know what I'm saying? Because because so many of us get caught up in our own shit, our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Things that I have to get done. I don't care about anything that you have to get done with your life or what you're going through. You know what I'm saying?
It's so true.
And selfishly, I can admit that in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like even with my family, a lot of times I don't have time to worry about what my family is doing. I don't have time to worry. Man. And it sucks. Like I hate to admit that, and hopefully some of you can connect. You know, like some of your listeners can like kind of reason with me on that, and I don't sound like a douche, but like that's because we're all so caught up in our own lives and what's going on that we don't even take we don't even stop to take the second to celebrate the fact that, you know, our sister might have just got accepted into the college that she wanted to get accepted into, and or somebody might have just, you know, won a basketball tournament or something. Like small victories to us, but huge victories to others. And if you're just there to celebrate them and be willing to rejoice in it with them, then that's so much more. It makes the time so much richer, you know. But we're like emotionally unavailable for that stuff if it doesn't impact our lives immediately, you know. And I feel like the social media construct is such a big, you know, host and reason why that is, because our attention spans are so ephemeral nowadays. It's here and it's gone, you know.
Yeah, dude, that might be the challenge this week, actually, is to celebrate other people.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Dude, that would be amazing. And I try to do this, but it would break my bank even more than it does. But like I try to pay for the person behind me, like at fast food or whatever. But I've actually challenged myself recently not to go to fast food for like the last couple of weeks. But I did go last night to McDonald's because I was watching a YouTube video, and we'll call it inspired. It inspired me to go to McDonald's and just binge myself. But yeah, man, I mean, and stuff like that, man, just celebrating people's lives, and maybe not even celebrating something that they do, but just celebrating people. You know what I'm saying? Celebrating a person in your life.
I like that.
Their existence. Hey, literally just going to them and saying, hey man, this is going to sound weird, but I'm just glad that you're alive. I'm glad to have you.
Like they don't need to do anything.
Nothing. They're already doing something.
Just for being here.
They're just being. That's it.
They're human being.
Celebrating somebody. Celebrating someone for their life. Like I have friends in my life and people in my life that I'm like, well, how do I like give back to them? How do I say, you know, what do I do? And it's not always the tangible things that you do. It's not always the tickets that you buy them. It's not always the whatever that you might buy them with money. It's like literally sometimes like the person that I am, dude, it's much more impactful to have a genuine conversation than a lot of other options out there, you know? Yep. So like someone coming up to me and just being like, hey man, I'm glad you're alive. Like, I'm glad you exist. I'm just thankful for your existence. Like, that to me is a little bit more impressionable.
Well, my dude, I am happy you're alive.
I'm happy you're alive, man. I'm definitely happy you're alive.
We just had a broment right there. Yeah. But genuinely, in all seriousness, I am happy you're alive.
Appreciate it, man.
And I'm happy that I met you. Thank you for being vulnerable and honest and willing to have this conversation. It's not easy. but it provides so much value, and I hope people can be vulnerable. Like, vulnerability is a strength, man. It really is. There's so much power in that, to like live your truth and not be held back. The more I like admit my weaknesses, the more I overcome them.
Right. And it's so contrary to masculinity, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like men, especially, vulnerable is like the complete opposite of what we aspire to be. But the thing is, you know, just like you, like before, off camera or off podcast, you were telling me earlier, man, like I have challenged myself to become vulnerable, you know, and I think some of us, it shouldn't even come to be, you know, challenging ourselves, because we're so conditioned
to be tough
and to not cry and all that kind of stuff. But I think that when you actually put things into perspective and don't bottle things up like most of us are taught, stuff gets handled right then and there.
Yep, just take care of it right then and there.
Yeah, no matter what it might be. I mean, dude, breakups even. We've been, you know, kind of talking about that a lot, but like, dude, breakups, like, take care of it. Don't bottle stuff up. Don't not talk to your family. Don't not talk to your friends. Talk, man. You're going through some shit. Okay? Like, everybody in the world has gone through something or is going through something currently. You're going through some shit, man. Talk about it. Expel. You know, cleanse. You know, I mean, I like to relate this to like a juice cleanse, even though this is weird, but bear with me here. Like, when you're feeling bad and you juice cleanse, like you do a juice cleanse, dude, that cleanse gets all the toxic crap and flushes it to the surface. It gets it out, you know? And, I'm just a nerd on that. I'm sorry that I did it. My dad has juiced for us since we were little kids.
Dude,
so
I love that.
I know.
No wonder you're such a good-looking model, dude. It's the juice from your dad.
The nutrients, bro. Nutrient rich. But no, I mean, that's how it is, man. If you cleanse yourself, you know, like something happens to you, bro. Something happens. You break up, or you get turned down, or you get stood up. And you just bottle that down. Yeah. And you bottle that down. And you bottle something else down. And you bottle something else down. Guess what happens? 9 times out of 10, at one moment, you're going to explode. And something's going to happen. Someone's going to get hurt. You're going to hurt yourself or something. You know what I'm saying? That could have all been avoided if you were just vulnerable to start with. And you asked for help. Or you just had somebody to talk to. You know?
Love it, dude.
So.
Well, boom. Do you have any other last words of advice to part on us for now?
I love you all. No. Last words of advice, man. I feel like I shouldn't be giving too much advice.
Or just any recent thoughts or just anything that you've learned.
Something that keeps popping up in my head that I need to take and run with it. I'll give you a quote, and I think it's Jim Rohn. Don't quote me if it isn't. But this is what I need to put into perspective now in my life and actually run with it. Is you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that's so simple, and it seems so menial, but
just start, man. Just go.
Start wherever you are. Just do it. Just go. Just get out there. Stop saying, "Oh, I need this camera. I need that camera, or I need this." Like if you're a beauty blogger or whatever, "Oh, I need this palette. I need that." Whatever it might be, or I need X, Y, and Z. No, just start with what you have where you at, dude. We're literally sitting in your living room right now. Obviously in a luxury apartment, so it's half the battle. But we're sitting on the floor. I have a chair holding up this microphone, and your laptop is sitting at the coffee table. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it's a divine setup for a podcast, but it works. It works, and people are going to hear this podcast. People are going to hear this episode, and hopefully at the end of the day, all it could do is touch people. You know what I'm saying? Is help, maybe help some people. And if it doesn't help anybody, at least it helped us. So
that definitely helped me. That's good, dude. That was awesome, dude. Way to end it. Well, brother, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, man. I appreciate your time, and we have to do this again sometime, as soon as possible, for sure. So I need to get used to this.
Tomorrow, maybe. All right, dude. Thanks, y'all. Adios. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed that convo with Kolby. I linked his Instagram handle in the show notes, so go make sure, check him out, give him a follow. This week's challenge is inspired by Handwrytten, and we want to celebrate others this week. this was inspired also by the combo with Kolby that you just heard. Not necessarily their actions, but their existence and for their being. Just simply being in your life, not for something they do or didn't do. Just a genuine thank you, having a conversation, giving them a phone call. Thank them for simply being a gift in your life. That's what we want to do. And Handwrytten, what they do is you can type your message, a long page, 2 pages, 3 pages, and then they'll actually handwrite it for you. So that's a pretty dope idea. And I would love to see your videos or a picture of how you're thanking people. This is a really important thing. So thank someone for just being them. That is the challenge this week, and there are a few ways you can report back once you complete this challenge. You can post on Facebook or Instagram using hashtag Goalink challenge, tag me in your stories, or use the Goalink hotline. The hotline is designed for those who want to remain anonymous or don't have social media, but still desire a form of accountability. To use the hotline, call 385-626-0525 and follow the instructions. Follow us at Goalink Group. My name is Ben. I would love to hear from you every single week. You guys make my week, make my days. I love you all, and this is The Goalink Show.